If you think coaching is just for newbies, the story of our guest today will flip that idea on its head. She built a significant agent-driven community for coaching of high performers every day of the week. So today on the OfferIn podcast, I'm super thrilled to welcome EXP agent Stacey McVey, 30-plus year agent, team lead, business coach, consultant, and founder of the Rebel Agent Posse. She lives at the intersection of doing and teaching. She's still in her blood. She's still doing real estate, but also teaches it and brings real, no fluff strategies about how to scale, how to use technology wisely, and absolutely how to crush it on a day in and day out basis as a real estate professional. Stacey, welcome to the show.
That was one heck of an intro. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, okay, great. This is hopefully one heck of a conversation. So
I hope so. I hope so.
It'll be good. So when did you realize that the life of real estate was your thing? You've been doing this 30 years. Take me back, right? So what was the thing that you're like, oh, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to commit my life to it?
I had grown up around it, so it was the thing I didn't want to do.
Okay.
That's what my parents did. They were investors. My uncle was a broker. My grandmother worked in the 50s at Miller Realty and Insurance, know. And so growing up around it, you think that, this isn't how I want to spend my time. I can't imagine doing this. And we got married. We had our kids. We outgrew our apartment. And I had a less than stellar experience with a real estate agent buying our first house. And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare from start to finish. I can't really blame our agent. It was the listing agent at the time. And unbeknownst to us, the sellers were going through a bankruptcy. And so they were taking things out of the house that they should have left. They had to make a repair on the house, and they decided instead of painting the trim white, they painted it cotton candy pink. And here we are, sweating. How are we ever going to afford groceries and a mortgage payment? And we're moving into this house having this really bumpy, miserable experience. That was it for me. I'm like, if this lady can do this, I really think I could knock it out of the park. Yeah. And there was a need for it. And so that was when I looked at my husband and said, I think I need to do this. And I think it would afford us the flexibility for me to be home with the kids quite a bit and still build a career. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah, that's interesting that a poor experience drove you to it. I'm also curious, like growing up in it as maybe a second generation real estate professional, right? But like, what was the thing that pushed you away? Why did you not want to do it?
The hours. Back then, everything was done in person.
Yep.
When fax machines became a thing, it was like the most liberating moment for a real estate agent who had kids. It was trying to juggle stuff.
No doubt.
But it was, it just seemed to be chaotic. It seemed to be all, encompassing. And I didn't want that. I wanted to be at home with my kids. That was the number one goal that we had as parents, was to stay home. And I was like, there's too much going on with real estate. I'll never be able to do that. So from the beginning, by necessity, it was about finding balance. And I would argue counterbalance to make this career fit the life that I had envisioned with my family.
So we know that real estate is all about sacrifice, right? You give your life to your clients, right? So how do you balance, like you use that word balance, counterbalance, how do you balance family and this crazy career?
Yeah, and that answer changes with every wave of technology that comes out that can help us. Yeah.
So you mentioned fax machine. That was the big one. All right.
It was, having the whole internet. I remember sitting at a sales meeting and, internet was being talked about, and would listings ever appear online? And I'm really dating myself here. But they were saying, what's going to happen when our listings are online? And my manager stood there, serious as a heart attack, and said, that'll never happen. No one will ever be able to view homes online. Wow. And so with every iteration of technology, we've gotten more and more freedom if an agent knows how to use it to their advantage. Or it can also be the biggest distraction ever, depending on whether or not you take the time to develop your own strategy and then find out how technology fits into that. But to balance everything, you have to begin with the end in mind. What is the life I want to live? And then build your practice around the life you want to live, not try to have a life around the career you want to have. You tailor the career to match the life you envision for yourself.
That's great. Yeah, that's really good. Thinking about, fast forwarding till today, you've been able to build this coaching business. When was the time, same thing, same question. When was the time you said, hey, I'm an awesome agent, I'm producing, and I'm going to move into the coaching aspect?
Yeah, my kids showed me Facebook. It was the moment. I can remember exactly the room in my house and the chair I was sitting in when it happened.
Yeah.
And I saw what Facebook could be. This is when most people weren't on it yet. We hadn't hunted down all our former classmates yet on Facebook. We were just getting on saying, what is this all about? At the same time, having MySpace. It was silly at the time. Facebook really gave me the opportunity to dive into something completely new that was behaving almost like a database or in a CRM that was updating itself. Wow. So if I'm an agent and I'm a little scattered around and I just need to kind of keep tabs on my people, this was a way to do it. I could celebrate moments with my clients. I could find out what was going on in the community. And I could do that from home, right? Like it was a lot easier. Seeing that opportunity led me to get really good at it and start teaching it. And I realized that at that point, your manager at your office can't be your end all be all. There's not enough hours in the day. And I really started spending more of my time teaching agents how to go from knowing nothing about something to making it work for their business without getting caught up in all the distractions. And that was really kind of the pivot point that led me forward to think, you know what, I know these things. The agents need to know that they're not hearing from their local broker. They're not able to access that information. And I need to deliver it at a local level. And that's where it really began.
Wow. That's awesome. You know what I love about your story so far is that you see opportunities and you seize them. So for example, you mentioned the fax machine. Yeah, okay, that made you more efficient. You mentioned Facebook. Oh, that's making me more efficient. You mentioned coaching. Oh, it's making others more efficient. Like you seem to have this drive in there. I'd love to dive into that. So we'll have a conversation about technology here as well. So tell me a little bit about Rebel Agent Posse.
Yeah.
First off, why the name? So it's different, right?
Rebel Agent came from
Rebel. Excuse me, not
no,
real.
You're good. You're good.
I'm all thinking real estate.
Yeah,
Rebel. Yeah, Rebel.
Right. Mm-hmm. The problem with our business, it was very cookie cutter. The solutions were very cookie cutter. Uh-huh. And the more I traveled throughout the country and was coaching agents, I realized that doing it the way everyone had been telling them to do it wasn't necessarily working in their market. And there's a wave or a trend, if you will, in real estate toward a certain something at any given time. Right now it's AI. Everybody's talking AI. No one is talking about anything but AI. Yep. And the challenge becomes you have to rebel against whatever the tide is at the moment that's pulling you away from the core of your business.
Okay. Preach. Let's go.
Yeah. So Rebel for me, anyone that's known me for any length of time will tell you I do tend to be very rebellious in my approach to things. I want to pick it apart. I want to question it. I want to understand whether or not it's right for me. Just because it's right for you, that doesn't mean it's right for me. That's kind of where that comes from. And, a posse is a group of people that are like-minded. We have a really supportive tribe of people that are experimenting in their businesses. They're not afraid to swim upstream on some things and make some changes so that they can have the life, again, that they envision, inviting this business in as a way to fund it, not letting the tail wag the dog.
There you go. Yeah. I love it. Rebels, going against things that are going to take you away from that expertise, the posse, the community. So you have hundreds of people in your community. You've had thousands of agents come through your trainings. Mm-hmm. Is there any trend that you see in the agents themselves? Like if you were to say, wow, okay, of all these thousands of people I've seen and coached, here are the three characteristics. Here's the attributes that I see in these agents that make them successful. Yeah. Have you seen any trends over there?
100%. Mm-hmm. The most important thing is that they're coachable.
Okay.
And by coachable, it means not only that they're open to hearing ideas and being told what will work, but they have a willingness to go deep without looking back up, without that temptation to quit before they've actually put in the full effort to realize the result. So, time on task over time, we hear that. It's kind of a cliche at this point, but time on task over time is what really helps people succeed in real estate. So the second attribute to that, I think, really would be the ability to stay in that groove of repetitious boredom and not be distracted. Yeah, that consistency. Like, you're not jumping out of bed in the morning going, I can't wait, You have to understand that our highest dollar productive activities are the ones that our particular personality style would call boring, and so their ability to stay in that really makes a difference. And resilience would be the third thing I would tell you. They got to be resilient. You have to be able to bounce back. This job changes sometimes by the minute. And so you can have a crushing morning and have a triumphant afternoon, and you have to be able to take both in stride and show up again tomorrow.
That's great. So we have mindset on how we're building OfferIn, and a couple of those mindsets you spoke of. You'll learn from your failures, right? So that's the resilience piece. Embracing the boredom of consistency is one of our core mindsets. So that aligns very well. But that's good, helpful. Thank you. I'm super curious about coaching. Okay, so if I was an agent, why would I want to coach? And also, when you speak to that, like, is it a new agent that comes to you, or is it the agent that has 20 years? If I'm an agent, why would I want to coach?
Typically, someone will seek coaching when they've identified something that they want to incorporate into their business, and they want to get there as fast as they can with the least amount of friction possible. Okay. And I think coaching should be topical. I think you should come up with your business strategy, and that might be a strategy coach. And then depending on what you're looking to implement in your business, there are people that are really, really good at that and can help you go and implement much faster. And even though I am a fail forward with velocity kind of girl, sometimes that's unnecessary. Coaching can cut down on that, and people's threshold of pain around failure is pretty low. Like, we're taught that that's a bad thing. So I love that OfferIn embraces failure too. But a coach can help you reduce some of that friction, get where you want to go, and get there in a way that you can onboard. Everybody learns differently. Some people can go on YouTube and teach themselves all kinds of things. Some people can read the manual. I'm not a read the manual kind of girl. I got to take it out of the box and just try it and then figure it out later, kind of thing. But for a lot of people, having that person that will go stride for stride with them is the difference between them being able to implement and not implement. And that's why they seek coaching. That's
great. I think you mentioned a little bit about the people, the way they learn, an aspect of that community, right? That you have people to lean on. There seems to be this lack of resilience. There really is in our community, and of course, as we age, we look at the current generation. We're like, oh, they're so weak compared to how we used to do it. But it truly, it's okay to fail. And I think when we're in a community of people, like in a coaching situation, you have some accountability, you have some people to lean on and collaborate with, and be like, oh, it's tough out there. Yeah, it's tough, but you keep going. So there's some motivation piece to that. I guess coaching in general, is it expensive? How does this work? Do people hire coaches for, hey, I'm going to do this for a course, and they just do a small course, or is it like, hey, I want to break the bank here and give you, all my money so that you can, coach me and teach me. And so what's the price ranges of people using coaching services?
Yeah, it's really all over the board. It really depends. Are you coaching with someone because, you want to get better at your client relationship nurturing, and so you're going to hire someone to bring you through, lighting up a CRM and all of your workflows, and how does that actually look? Are you someone building a team? So depending on what you're looking for, that could be something as simple as an online course. Okay. But also that can be a little bit passive where, I did the thing and I'm following the instructions and I still got hung up. Okay, that's where a coach comes in. I like to hybrid coach, which is we have some, tutorials you can lean back on in those moments. Like if you're working on Saturday night and that's the time you had available, there's tutorials available for you. But we also have live coaching so that when you are stuck, you can say, I'm just stuck on this little thing. I can't figure it out. Yesterday, I had someone sending out an email newsletter. She said, I got to talk to you. This thing just doesn't look the way I want it to look. It's all garbled up. Well, here, her email viewing pane on her desktop was just shrunk really small. So it made the text all wonky.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, that was holding her up from doing something.
Yeah.
So sometimes having that resource where you can come in and just go, here's my thing. How do I fix it so I can move forward?
Yep.
Again, will be the difference between someone being able to implement and not at all. So there's all kinds of solutions depending on what you're looking for.
Got it. Okay. Would you recommend everybody has a coach?
It depends on how fast you want to go.
Okay. So you scale quicker because there's so many agents. Like you hear the statistics, right? Where, so many of the agents, 75% of the agents sell 5 or less homes a year. It's like, how do we get this whole population of folks to either don't be in real estate because it's really hard. And if you're not going to put in the effort, make the sacrifice, just don't do it.
Right.
And it's okay.
Right.
The other portion of it is like, how do you get them from 5 houses or 2 houses to 10 to 20, and scale faster? I think coaching is an opportunity, but is it something in people or is it something? Why is that? Why are there a significant portion of our industry not producing?
I think a significant part of the industry lacks the basic skills to get business. When we take our classes, we're taught all about, how many square feet are in an acre and all of this stuff. That's really important. It is. We need to know about the product that we, quote, sell. I would argue we don't sell anything. But the very, heart of the business is relationship creation and nurture, and we're not taught that. And so they're very passive in their approach to the business. If somebody brings it up and drags them into the conversation, they'll talk about the fact that they're a real estate agent. And a lot of them don't have the goal when they get in to replace an income. They're not full-time. They're just trying to save up enough to make a couple extra payments on their mortgage or put a kid through college. So by its design, we've attracted a lot of people to the business through no fault of their own, have been told they can have a great part-time income. And unlike Northeast Ohio, where we hover, around a little bit of a lower price point, if you sell 10 houses in Denver, Colorado, or in Southern California, you're doing A-okay. All right. So unit count can be a little bit deceiving depending on where you are.
Very good.
Okay. So you can make an extra 75 to 100,000 doing half a dozen houses, depending on your market. Not in our market, but in some markets. So I think that, it's kind of historically been that way. It's been a part-time thing. And so when things get really hard and those numbers start to contract like they have recently, over 40% contraction in the number of available transactions for real estate agents, you're going to see those part-time people struggle more than the people that are full-time who have been creating their own economy.
Yep. That's very good. How do you get your coaching clients?
Usually word of mouth, believe it or not.
Okay. Makes sense.
I teach a fair amount. I do offer free content for people, although I think that is also a blessing and a curse for agents because then they sit consuming free coaching content all day long and they don't understand what they're actually viewing as a sales pitch. So there's something left out of that recipe, to get you to take the next step, to buy the thing, buy the course, hire the coach. So you're not getting a cohesive strategy when you're, kind of piecemealing this free stuff together. I offer it's how people get a sense of who I am and what it would be like to work with me. So it's important. But you tend to meet people through other people who have had experience with your coaching. That's primarily how I get my clients. Sometimes every once in a while, somebody will be like, I saw you, on social media, or I saw you teach a class at the board or something like that. And I'll get a client that way. But often it's by referral.
Yep. which is great, which means you're bringing value. And then with value comes that. So same thing with like, a listing, right? You do a great job. That client refers you to the next client.
Right.
So
it's the cheapest, not cheapest. It is the cheapest. The least expensive lead that we procure is a referral. It has the highest conversion ratio, and it's the warmest call you make. And real estate agents run away from that as fast as they can. If you would lean into that, whether you're building a coaching business or a real estate business, you would realize that you can drive more profit to your bottom line with those warm and referral type leads.
Yep. We struggle with this a little bit at OfferIn because we actually want to give it away for free. At the end of the day, this is a business, right? So the tough part is like, well, you need people, the scale and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, but we also want people to see the value in it. So to your point of like, hey, there's a bunch of free information and then you kind of dilute the value that you're getting. So we've learned that like we were giving away free trials, people use it, but people weren't taking it seriously because it is a little bit of a new thing in a workflow. So if you give it away for free, people are like, oh yeah, I tried it. And, I hit a couple bumps. It's just different than what I normally do. So I'm done. We learned our churn rate was higher with a free trial versus actually charging for it. So again, at the end of the day, we'd love to do it for free because we really believe that this is impacting the way agents do real estate, and it's impacting their personal lives. It's stripping administrative work from their workload, right?
Yay.
So they can be more efficient. Yay.
Yay.
And that experience was very similar to your first experience as well. But I guess in a concise manner, like high level, what was your first experience using OfferIn like?
It was funny. I was surprised at how quickly I got it set up.
Yeah.
I deal in technology all the time, so it felt very intuitive to me. I had heard about it from a friend, and they're like, you have to look at this. You're the girl that's always teaching, how to use tech. You have to look at this. And I did, and it was just at a time where it served the purpose perfectly for me. I was really busy. I was taking on a lot of family things, helping out family members at the time. And I lit up these listings that were getting multiple offers, and it was killing. I was like, how am I going to do both of these things at the same time, and do them at a high level? And that's when I learned about it. I implemented it. I think it took me less than 10 minutes, the first shot out of the gate. Were there more things to learn? Sure, there were.
Sure.
Could it do more than I thought it could? It could. So it is a huge time saver. But for me, it's also good for risk management. And I think agents need to really understand that as much time as they spend on some of these other things, they need to backtrack on their risk management. A friend of mine almost just missed an offer on a property that was the highest best offer on the property, but the offer was lost in spam. And the agent didn't call to follow up.
Are they using OfferIn, by the way?
They are not.
Oh,
they are
maybe
not.
we should talk to
we're
them.
having a conversation with Nancy. So
Okay.
the thing of it is, how would that seller feel had they known they could have, maximized their position by thousands of dollars, right? These things happen every day, and agents aren't thinking about it. And they certainly aren't going to talk about it, even if they are thinking about it.
They will never admit it.
No. So for me, in as much as this is an efficiency play, this is a risk management play. If you're a broker listening to this, if you're a team leader listening to this, and you're responsible for other people who may or may not exactly know what they're doing all the time, this is the play. This is what OfferIn can do. I couldn't say enough good things about it. I called you.
You did. I
was
super impressed by that.
What is going on? This is amazing. So I would encourage people when they're looking at implementing technology, it's not just what it can do for you efficiency-wise, but it's also what it can do for you risk management-wise.
Yeah, great. Thank you. That was not planned, by the way, like a little OfferIn commercial. So that was awesome.
I'm just telling you.
I'm glad it was impactful. Truly, I'm glad it's helping.
It is, and there's nothing else in my tech stack that can replicate what it does. So a lot of the technology that agents have access to, there's a lot of redundancy in there. This is unlike anything else that we use, and it fills a critical role that allows us to live that balanced life that we talked about earlier.
That's great.
So that's what technology is supposed to do for you. It's supposed to create leverage, and this really did.
Great. So if someone's listening today and wants to begin coaching, the being part of being coached, what's their first move? How do they get a hold of you?
Probably find me on Instagram, believe it or not, and you'll get a feel for whether you like my style and what you think of the content. We advertise our free Ask Me Anything session every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. They're welcome to jump on that and get kind of a taste of it. It really is like a game show. Yeah, it's cool. It's Stacey's on the hot seat for an hour is what it is. So they're welcome to do that. You can find me on Instagram at Realtor McVey.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I'd love for anyone listening, if they want to join her coaching community and really check out what she has, I'd encourage you to do that. I'd also love to have you stick around. If this was interesting content, we're going to dive in. We have to do part 2 here and dive into technology and really say like, okay, we mentioned AI. That's the newest, latest words on the street. And I'd love to get your perspective on that. So we're going to break for now. Make sure you subscribe and like the content so that the next time we put out some great stuff on AI and technology and real estate that you can be abreast of that. So thanks for joining us. Until next time.